Welcome to Stock Market Today, everyone. It's Coram and Shreve here with a breakdown of the action in today's session. So we're talking about the strong gains that we saw today, especially for the NASDAQ, up 4%. Can you give us a little bit of color there on the Fed there? So just, again, a quick note, some emphasis on what today meant for the market.
Okay, well, so the Dow did not have any problems with that 32,000 level. We were talking, the Nasdaq, jumping above. There's the Dow there, moving above 32,000. The Nasdaq makes a nice move above the 12,000 level, and then finally it was the S&P 500, which also broke through a round number here of 4,000 and above recent highs. So, yeah, I mean the thing is looking good here. We're talking about the office, whether it's swing trader or leaderboard, just looking for good setups, and that is still the main missing ingredient in this market. We're going to talk about a few stocks today that are looking pretty good, but they're not forming bases. A couple of them are still far off highs, but showing good action off lows. So, even though we're seeing a much improved market health, we can be patient and not feel like this market's going to run up without us. Because if this uptrend is really to be believed, we should see more setups come out over the next coming days and weeks.
Absolutely. It seems like now's the time to just remind ourselves, all of us, to be disciplined, and if we are going to be making new buys, because there have been some big moves this week, and some of which we will some of those that we will get to, but you don't want to be getting too greedy, too overly ambitious, because we're not totally in the clear here yet, even though we are continuing to see some promising signals.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of the best growth investors out there are still holding still a fairly heavy cash position, putting a little bit of money to work here and there. And again, there was one unequivocal buy that we saw today, and we put it on leaderboard only as a quarter position, just as a small little pilot position. So just taking baby steps here, and feeling good about the action in the market today, feeling good about what Jerome Powell said at his press conference. The last two times the Fed has moved on interest rates, the following day, Ed Carson tells me we've had some weakness, so it doesn't mean that we'll be weak again tomorrow. But we've got a couple of earnings sell-offs after the close, so we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Right, exactly. Doesn't mean we will necessarily sell off tomorrow, but it doesn't mean we'll go up big either. We'll have to continue to, as always, take things day by day like we always do. But chips were a bright spot today. Let's look at SMH, up 4.7% here, Ken. So semiconductor stocks starting to come on strong. More earnings, of course, that we'll need to digest, but a strong day for chips.
Yeah. So we're looking at results from Qualcomm. They reported after the close. That's certainly a semiconductor bellwether. But yeah, this the SMH ETF has came nicely off its lows, went through that 200 level. Went through the 50-day moving average last week, and then pulled back in very light volume down to the 50-day, and a nice move today. So we mentioned Texas Instruments. That was the earnings report. Wasn't only decent bottom line and top line growth, but they also gave pretty good revenue guidance for the current quarter. So Texas Instruments had a good day, and that fueled a big rally in chip stocks.
And SMH, that's not the only thematic or sector ETF that we're keeping an eye on. Also, TAN, which tracks the solar industry. We're in a very loud office here. But we have TAN here up about 6.2% today. Some strong volume, getting it back above the 200-day line. So we had some notable earnings in this group today, but a nice group move. And this is one way to play the group.
Yeah, it was a report from Enphase, ENPH, which soared and broke out of this long consolidation here, and also Yeah, there's the breakout for Enphase and Solar Edge as well. SEDG kind of rode Enphase's coattails. So a
Yeah.
couple of good breakouts here. Closes looks like up near highs. So that's good. 10 to us was an unequivocal buy signal today. So this is a chart you can look at. We go back to the daily, and we have a nice trend line here, starting from that 78.82, very clean trend line. Nice move above that trend line, and a nice move above the 200-day moving average. So we got a decent entry earlier in the day. We've been complaining a lot about volume because we're sort of in the summer doldrums here, where volume tends to dry up. But you had a good rush in trading volume in TAN today. So this is our second go around with TAN on leaderboard. So we'll see how it works out. But it was a good solid close today for TAN.
That it was. And since we mentioned the strength in semiconductors, you mentioned Qualcomm. We'll take a peek at that after a couple of other stocks to check in on. You also mentioned Texas Instruments. Well, Nvidia as well, with a strong day, up almost 8% here. Doesn't have earnings for almost another month. So perhaps for aggressive investors, today may have been an opportunity to sneak in a little nibble. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Just like the stocks kind of come off bottoms in certain ways, and you just kind of want to look at that price and volume interplay. So you can see when Nvidia came up through its 50-day moving average, there was actually some good volume there. 3 days in a row where volume picked up the pace, and then for 3 days it just kind of pulled back in very light volume. So very basic technical analysis here: rising in heavy volume, falling in light volume, and then today you get a nice pop in higher volume. So I could totally see why people might be betting on the Nasdaq here and looking at Nvidia as one of the still compelling growth stories in the chip sector. And so I could see why small position here, 2, 3, 4%, just seeing how it works. Seem like a legitimate buy today.
Right. We do, in most cases, like seeing a base to form after the stock is able to get above the 50-day line and stay above it for the first time after a downtrend. And a bottoming base is something that you're really a fan of, Ken. And that's not to say that the whole base has to form above that 50-day line. And maybe we can make out a little bit of a cup with handle here type pattern for Nvidia, but we'll have to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, there's a little prior uptrend there. The stock came down close to even further to the left. Yeah, you kind of rallied up to that one close to 200, and then kind of settled down here and hit that low around 140. So whether or not it's a bottoming base by definition might not fit the bill exactly, but this is kind of what we're the situation that we're in right now. Just kind of looking for stocks that we think can take advantage of newfound market strength, and think
Right.
Nvidia and a lot of other chip stocks coming off lows have compelling charts. So all in all, I think Nvidia's move today was
Yeah.
bullish, and
Mhm.
wouldn't be surprised to see it make a run towards 200 here.
Right. And it's not just any old stock that we look at, more aggressive entries like this with the stock being so far still below the 200-day line. It's some of these select, more elite, maybe turnaround names like an Nvidia that has had a history of going on big moves, still has incredibly strong fundamentals and a strong story behind it as well.
Yeah, I mean they're still in all the key markets of growth in the semiconductor industry, whether it's artificial intelligence or automotive. They're just data center chips. They're really in just all the right markets at the right time. So anybody buying today, again, because this is not kind of breaking out into new high ground from a proper base. This is probably more of a trade where if you get a gain of 8 to 10%. Don't be afraid to trim some of those gains
Yeah.
because we're still probably in some market chop here.
Yeah.
And if it were coming out of a base and we were in the early stages of a new confirmed uptrend, there might want to give the stock a little more room. But because we're buying kind of deep inside the base here, if you were to buy today and you get a 10% gain, don't be afraid to take some money off the table.
And as always, make sure to manage your risk. So let's also talk about on semiconductor, because from a technical standpoint, this one is looking stronger than Nvidia. We don't have an RS line blue dot because pattern recognition is not picking up a base, but this does look an RS line that's at a new high, with the stock still 12% below its highs, and a strong day today, also up over 7%, but we have earnings in just 5 days time for
Yeah,
onsemi.
so this was kind of interesting. Just looking at it as an option trade earlier in the day, I was looking at a 61 strike price. I think the premium was around $2.70, $2.80. So it was about a 4.5% risk trade, which isn't too bad. Maybe a little elevated, but they report Monday before the open. So anybody thinking about thinking a good report could be in store for On Semiconductor, you'd have to get that option trade in Friday, because again they report Monday before the open. But this is a company similar to Nvidia. It's not as I mean, it is spread out in a lot of different markets, but their main area where they get most of their revenue is in the automotive space, and obviously automotive chips have been in huge demand for some time, and this company is still well positioned for growth. You can see the bottom line, top line growth at the bottom, and again, a stock that has come up nicely off lows, and just like Nvidia, a little pullback to that 200-day moving average, and then a nice move above the 60 level today. So, earnings are very close. So buying today, probably not enough time to build a profit cushion. Maybe we'll see. But possibly an option trade. Around that 60. Right now, we'd be looking at a 62, 63 strike price.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to your earnings preview column later this week, where you're going to break down some of the potential earnings option plays to keep an eye out for next week. So that's all exciting. All right. So as we wrap here, Ken, just to reiterate for our audience, how should we be thinking about what might go down tomorrow? We're not out of the woods here. A lot of encouraging signals, but there's still more to come in this busy week of headlines.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that indexes are making pretty good case for a bottom. And again, you cannot just look past the percentage gains today. I mean, at one point the Nasdaq was up 2.5%. Now all of a sudden it's up more than 4% on the day. So I think investors should be looking to put some money to work, especially those with a big cash position. And if you're 20 to 30% invested, and you want to go to 40 or 50%, that's fine. The problem is, don't force the issue. You got to be patient and wait for the setups. I mean, we talked about Nvidia and on maybe aggressive entries today with a real small position. But again, if this market uptrend is going to be believed, we should continue to see good price and volume action, heavy volume gains, lower volume declines in the indexes, and the screens really should start populating with a bigger list of buy prospects. We're not there yet, but maybe getting just a little bit better.
Well said, Ken. Thank you so much for that analysis. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live. And we hope you join us, investors.com/IBD Live, for all the details. We'll see you there. And we'll also see you right back here tomorrow after the close.